tonight.
Everybody wants justice. Everybody wants our children to be protected.
The Alberta government is introducing new child protection legislation, plus end of an era. Today is the last day of operations for the Saskatchewan Transportation Company, and
it's something that not all kids get the opportunity to do, so it helps, it helps them have a better summer and just gives them a little bit more stuff to do throughout the summer.
the border city does its part to help send kids to camp.
This is Newcap News with Nicole Stilger.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. The NDP government has committed to review the death of every single child that dies while in government care. This decision comes from the panel looking into the child intervention system. Global's provincial affairs reporter Tom Vernon explains.
I love you.
When Serenity was just 4 years old, she died while in kinship care. She was covered in bruises and less than 20 pounds at the time. This was nearly 3 years ago, and we still don't know why. Her autopsy was delayed. Police had a hard time getting her files from the government. To prevent this from happening again, changes are coming.
Everybody wants justice. Everybody wants our children to be protected.
Out of the ministerial panel on the child intervention system, new legislation has been introduced that mandates all deaths of children in care will be reviewed by the Office of the Child Advocate within 1 year. And agencies with relevant information, be they government or law enforcement, must share it with that office.
Not only is it important that you share information, but you are mandated to share information, and it's an essential part of this process going forward. So that is a massive culture shift.
And one the advocate himself hopes will lead to a system that better protects the more than 10,000 children in Alberta's social system.
They've made access to information easier, and so we're hopeful that that will produce results in a more timely way.
What the legislation doesn't have is penalties for anyone who doesn't follow the new information sharing rules, and the opposition worries that could prevent these badly needed changes from actually occurring.
When you'd ask who is accountable for this, who's in charge of this issue, you can't get a clear answer.
The minister believes these changes will help our most vulnerable children.
There's an expectation that everybody who works in the public service, in law enforcement, in the Crown, we're all in it for the same thing, to make life better for the people we're responsible for.
With the goal of preventing any more cases like Serenity. Tom Vernon, Global News.
Now, the government hopes to pass the legislation this spring, but will work with the advocate to determine when his office has enough resources to take on the extra duties. Well, Alberta dentists are no longer allowed to provide general anesthesia on their own to patients. The Alberta Dental Association has permanently suspended single operator sedation. The motion states registered dentists in Alberta can no longer simultaneously provide deep sedation or general anesthesia and dental treatment. The new policy comes after 5-year-old Amber Atwell suffered brain damage last September after being put under general anesthesia at an Edmonton dental clinic. Well, today is the last day of operations for the Saskatchewan Transportation Company. It's the end of an era. STC bus lines have been operating in the province since 1946. While some say the service is crucial for smaller communities and the north, the government says it's become too expensive to operate. Last year, STC lost $13 million. The government says ridership has been declining for years and the government subsidy per passenger was over $90. KPMG will dispose of buses and other assets. The union went to court earlier this month to stop the closure, but last Friday a judge ruled the government has the right to shut it down. Well, buying a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons will do more than give you a caffeine boost today. It will also help send a child to camp. Brittany Matika explains.
Camp Day is an annual event for the Tim Hortons Children's Foundation and is held across the country for 24 hours.
We're raising funds to send kids that may not have the opportunity to go to camp. They get to try something new. The kids from Lloydminster get to go to Kananaskis, and they do things like horseback riding, rock climbing, canoeing.
I just believe that there's a lot of children that need to have Camp Day, and it's a good organization. And I know I volunteer the odd time at camp, and I just think it's great for the unprivileged kids.
Any hot coffee is all of the proceeds go towards Camp Day. They can also purchase a $2 Camp Day bracelet. The proceeds of that all go straight to camp. And they can also just do, if they want to do a cash donation.
Since the foundation's creation in 1974, more than 237,000 children have been able to attend summer camp. Special guests were also invited into stores to lend a hand in getting coffee out to the supporters.
We came out to volunteer today to help with the Tim Hortons Camp Day to help out the kids. It's something that not all kids get the opportunity to do, so it helps them have a better summer and just gives them a little bit more stuff to do throughout the summer.
The proceeds from coffee purchased today at this location alone will send 2 youth from our community to camp. Brittany Matika, Newcap News.
All right, well, before we get to your weather details, just quickly, for all you Johnny Cash fans out there, we are giving away 2 pairs of tickets. 2 pairs. 4 tickets. Tribute to Johnny Cash. That's coming up Friday, June 2nd at the Vic Juba Theatre. Friday night. It's pretty easy to enter.
Yeah, pretty easy to enter. All you got to do is email us. Yeah, you know our email, tvnews@newcap.ca. I think doors probably open around 7. Show starts at 8 o'clock. It's David, James, and Big River paying tribute all of your favorite Johnny Cash songs.
Should be a great time, that's for sure. Well, speaking of the burning ring of fire, a scorcher out there, breaking records.
Breaking records, I think 31 records in Alberta. Johnny Cash would be proud of that.
Very proud of that.
And 3 as well in Saskatchewan today. Look at these records. And Canada's hotspot is the weather station out at Bow Island. 32.2 degrees. Lloyd, we're up at 27.6. Well, rounded up to 28. Edmonton for the 2nd day running, and Calgary also in the record books. And Lac La Biche hitting 27.3. Buffalo Narrows, one of the spots in Saskatchewan. And Leader, that's the hot spot in Saskatchewan today. So more details on Lloydminster's conditions. Southeast winds at 29 and at times gusting up to 30 kilometers per hour. Relative humidity at 24. And look at the UV index. Sunscreen is required. Alrighty, as we look around the region, 27 in the Lakelands and 27 in the Battlefords, opening it out some more. Some watches and warnings around the Edmonton area, and that's cooled off things a bit down to 27 from the 30 earlier. Camrose at 28, St. Paul 28, Lac La Biche at 29, and Isle Across there at 33 degrees Celsius. We'll share some more details and when this will be changing out later in the show.
The Border City Petting Zoo is now open for the summer season, and there's an animal for everyone. Michaela Henschel takes you on a tour and shows you the newest little additions. From billy goats to crocodiles, cows to piglets, the zoo is the perfect summer spot to spend your day petting and feeding different animals from around the world. The zoo has many different exhibits that get you up close and personal, even with those creepy crawlers.
My favorite is snake.
Wallace and his wife started the Border City Petting Zoo 17 years ago. It all started with a croc, some tortoises, and a dream. Over the years, the zoo has grown into what it is today, with over 100 animals.
We get everything from lions to crocodiles to potbelly pigs and baby calves and a little bit of everything.
This year at the Border City Petting Zoo, their newest attraction is 6-week-old timber wolves, like my little buddy here, Duke. Wallace plans to keep growing his animal family, hoping to add another new addition over the next few weeks.
We're looking at getting maybe a baby zebra in, if we can get one in. So I got my name in for one, so fingers crossed.
You can head down to the Border City Zoo to meet the new animals 7 days a week during the summer months. Michaela Henschel, Newcap News. One of Western Canada's largest insurance agencies is doing its part to raise money for city projects, including right here in Lloydminster. Western Financial held its annual Walk for the Cause event today as part of their Toonie Drive campaign, raising more than $1,700 for infrastructure projects across Western Canada. Susan Cambridge with Western Financial says the foundation committee will decide where the money goes in the 4 Western provinces.
They are taking a very, very close look at the needs of the community, and whatever that is, I'm sure that's where they will do the investment.
In the past, we have given donations to kids who exceed in or adversity and in need for some sort of like college or university fund.
While the walk is over, there are still a few events the financial group has planned before the campaign ends in June. Donations can be made at any of their locations around the city. Well, let's face it, we live in a technology-driven world, and if you don't keep up, you could get left behind. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we see how the Lloydminster Public School Division is reaching some of their technology outcomes by introducing students to the basics of coding. This is an Ozobot. About the size of a toonie, these tiny little robots are helping students learn how to code.
A piece of paper, 4 colors, blue, red, green, and black, and their code sheets, and they can program a robot.
Brenda Brown and her class have been working with the Ozobots for about a week now. Using the piece of paper and their markers, the students draw a line with the sequence of colors incorporated into it, creating a specific code which tells the robot what to do.
There's little sensors down at the bottom. It runs on 2 little wheels, and it actually reads the code. So the robot may spin, it may go fast, it may go turbo fast, it may do a tornado.
Aside from the lesson on coding, Brown says the experience is a confidence builder.
The Ozobots were started for about 8-year-olds. However, even in our school, even our grade 1 students have had access to them and have used them. And starting them at a young age gives them the confidence that they have the ability to do code.
And the enthusiasm over learning something new like this is certainly felt within this group.
I'm really excited about it. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to be included in the classroom, and my students love it. If I bring it out, they are super excited. They want to learn more about it.
It's learning technology, and it's just so much fun. Putting the codes in and watching them. It's really cool.
It's awesome, because it's teaching us how a robot works. You can't just talk to it and it'll do exactly what you do. It's more complicated just than that.
This is Newcap Sports.
Lloydcomp's path to rugby provincials made a stop at Armstrong Field last week for a 16-team sevens tournament. Our Lance Phillips was there and caught a special moment out on the field.
Lloydcomp's boys rugby team wasn't as successful as it had hoped to be at last weekend's Barron's Sevens tournament. But sometimes success is measured in less tangible ways than points on a board or final scores. This is Caleb Baird. He's an autistic student at Lloydcomp and is an integral part of the Barron's rugby team, just not always on the field. The Barron's final game Friday provided Baird a rare opportunity to play and a new first for the upbeat athlete.
I thought I was gonna round charge or something, but nope. It felt like I was passing like a good passer should be, so yeah. So it was my first time having the ball in the game, so yeah.
Well, you can just see them out there having fun. I think that's the main point. Every year, something special happens with the program, and we see players really achieve something that transcends just an individual achievement, but it means a lot to some of these kids, and Caleb would be a really good example. This means something to him more than just being on a team. And I think that's what he brings.
With any sport, the coach is the person affecting players, whether it's through the transfer of knowledge or simply contributing support and encouragement. But every so often, if a coach is lucky enough, it's the player that gives to them.
I think we run a lot. We pass the ball backwards, and it feels like we have a great coach to support us.
It's a big commitment to come and coach. So I think things like that just help me realize the vocation that coaching is. It's more than just going out there and helping boys compete, but helping them become the better version of themselves. That's really what it's about.
And in this case, Caleb's not only becoming a better version of himself, but is helping instill that quality to everyone around him. Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports.
It's that time of year again where the pounding of hooves and the sounds of drivers yelling will be all over the Midwest region when the CPCA season kicks off Friday in the Battlefords. And one of those drivers may have an edge over his competition. BJ Carey, like every driver, has been busy preparing his horses for the 2017 season and took time to discuss one of the challenges he's faced thus far.
It's been pretty good besides the weather. Weather's uncontrollable though, so with the equicizer, it helps for sure, but you just don't get the air in them with the equicizer that you do with on the truck or driving them.
The Equicizer is a safe, free-run horse exerciser capable of holding up to 8 horses at a time, and it provides one distinct advantage over truck training. Not to mention Carrie and Jamie Labacane are some of the only drivers having access to one.
We probably got about 45 days on them, whereas guys, it was snowing there through April and they couldn't train at all, and we could go with that Equicizer, being that the roof's on it and you can just go. Truck training, you'd need 4-wheel drive and probably a 4-inch lift with the foot of snow we got in end of April. So yeah, it hasn't really slowed us down.
Now all that remains is to get his outfits on the track, something Carrie's been waiting for since the end of the 2016 season.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get going. They're fast right now because you're not running against anybody. So we're 5 days away, 6 days away, and we'll see if we're quick enough or not.